Why does he have standards if he's the god of Vile? Well, let's jump into the lore of my mangas and find out why is the god of Vile running one of the safest cities to ever live in. This spawns from my video where I said Vershire hates pedophiles. And one of the worst punishments you can get is actually sleeping with him in a kid's form, which he does publicly to brand you in front of every citizen of what you are. But he runs a crime monopoly, which means his civilization is ruled by organized crime. Why is he putting up laws that punish bad people? Well, there's a couple reasons, and you can get a glimpse of them by looking at his unofficial names his people have given him, such as the God of Opportunity and the God of Accountability. Just think of it like this. Vershire stands for just because you can do something does not mean you should do something. Perfect example, which is why Rudeus from Motoko Tensei would get absolutely hanged, is because just because you can sleep with kids doesn't mean you should. Just because a lich has the ability to go and grab a child's body and then put his soul in it and then can go and sleep around with kids doesn't mean he should just because he can. Yeah, I'm taking shots at MT. So what? But it's right. That's how God of Vile works. But the thing to understand is Vershire created the black market that spans the entire world. And as always, I want to use our reference point. This is about 6.6 Texas's worth of landmass. And the only place you cannot practice slavery, sexual abuse of minors is literally this little area right here, which is his domain. That's because Vershire has a fundamental understanding of what makes a society function, and he doesn't want to rule over a burning society. So yes, Vershire has very strict laws in his society, and his motto is, hey, if you can get around the laws that I have put in place, if you can be secretive enough to not get caught, you can do it. You can risk everything for the reward. But guess what? If I catch you, or if somebody catches you, there will be hell to pay. But there are things that he considers cancers on society that he has just outlawed in his city that you can pursue, but there will be massive repercussions for not only you, but the big bosses above you and people below you, depending on where you are in that power structure. And one of them is being a ditty because of the fact that once you damage a child, that child for the rest of their life will be damaged and have to deal with the consequences of that. And they will have to try to live a life with that event done to them. And from a financial standpoint, he really doesn't want to deal with having to provide social services just because you're a weirdo. But if he doesn't want to have potential citizens being dysfunctional in society, he has to deal with that. Therefore, hitting his bottom line. As a clarification, I am not saying that people who have been assaulted are broken or damaged, but there is a fact that in his view, he does have to expend social services to help those individuals cope with the trauma of what happened to them. He would prefer not to have to expend that charge if at all possible. 2, slavery. It is good, cheap labor, but it absolutely builds social rebellion. He doesn't want his civilization falling to pieces, nor does he want to have to deal with overt corruption to his citizens, which is what is directly happening in the god of summer season's territory, Stroke. And yes, he is directly profiting off of Stroke's slave trade market because he has his hands in the market. He just doesn't want it in his territory. He doesn't want his citizens dealing with that. And while yes, if you are a member of the big mafioso families, you can, outside of his territory, deal in human trafficking. Or I guess it would be more fair to say sentient trafficking. You can make money off of it, but it better never touch the borders of Rimini and Vershire's territory. Because the second you bring people into his territory or that business backlashes into his territory, that's where you got a problem. That's where your mob family has a problem. Because at the end of the day, if you can do it and get away with it, Vershire, okay. You had an opportunity, you took it. But once you get caught doing something you ain't supposed to, accountability is about to rain from the bottom all the way to the top of that pyramid. But if you want to know more about the mangas, go ahead and grab a copy of The Devil's Deal or The Night of Slaughter while I only have a few copies left of each series.